Hello and welcome to Contact Sport. I'm Paul Kennedy. The Kookaburras have won a third consecutive Champions Trophy led by master coach Rick Charlesworth. The Aussies beat England 4-0 in the final. Let's look at the highlights.
Crowd comes hushed. Out comes the ball. Dwana takes it. Oh, it's a wonderful finish through the goalkeeper rather there. And England fall behind to the first penalty corner of the game. Given away there by Jackson. Clashing there with Turner. He's got to be careful in that 23 metres. Turner did well. Abbott slams it home. England are 2 down. Desperate defending there again by England. Ashley Jackson in his own circle. It's not where England want him to be playing. Oh, it's a wonderful strike. What a goal. England are going to protest this one. Wonderful strike. Terrific strike there. Abbott. Ockenden again. This is Dwyer. Dwyer shoots and Dwyer scores. Goal number 4 for Australia. You can't give that man any opportunities in the circle. Peter Nicholson there, the team manager, but it will count for nothing. It's all part of ancient history now. Australia are once again the Champions Trophy winners. And just as 25 years ago, when Rick Charlesworth was part of an Australian team that beat then Great Britain and ended as Champions Trophy winners, they've done it again, this time against England.
But it seems the Kookaburras aren't going overboard with celebrations in Germany. They now have the Commonwealth Games to prepare for, and I spoke to the team manager, David Hatt, earlier.
We were the least experienced team here. They won all 6 matches, and we were the only team that actually ended up with a positive goal difference. So that was the measure of our domination. So we're very pleased.
And David, just finally, what work do you have to do now between now and the Commonwealth Games? And I know they're going to play those matches in the middle of the day in the very, very hot weather, and you've got a reduced squad. So what are the obstacles between now and then?
Well, the boys will be getting conditioned. The National League finals will be held in August or later this month. Then we play a series against Argentina in Sydney and in Perth. And then on to the Commonwealth Games, and you're right, we're not happy with the scheduling of the games or the matches themselves in Delhi because it's liable to be 35 degrees or warmer, and that won't suit anybody. I mean, we're as fit as any other side, but I think it's the scheduling leaves a little bit to be desired, but I suppose there are other factors that the organisers have to take into account.
To another national team preparing for the Commonwealth Games now, and Australia beat Jamaica in netball yesterday by 21 goals. Joining me to analyse the performance of the team, among other things, is co-captain of the Melbourne Vixens, Bianca Chatfield. Thanks for joining us. What did you think of the match yesterday? Was it more or less a training run for the Australians?
Look, it was. I expected the scoreline to be like that. Jamaica don't have their full-strength team out here, which the Australian team are very disappointed about. We wanted to see them at their full strength before we go to the Commonwealth Games. But I think that they're going to improve over the next few test matches, and it's still great for them to get out there on court, the Australian girls, and get used to each other.
What can you tell us about this squad? Obviously, your omission last week was big news. Is it obvious that they're trying to blood younger players? Is that what you put it down to?
I think so. For me, obviously, I'm bitterly disappointed that I'm not in the side. But they said that they wanted to take a risk with some players. For netball, Commonwealth Games is good, but World Championships next year is the pinnacle for our sport. And, as a player, Commonwealth Games means the most to me, but, in terms of netball World Champs. So I think they're testing different combinations, seeing what's happening, and, and I've got the option to come back in January and, prepare myself for World Champs, and hopefully I'll be successful.
And how have you been able to rationalise that? Obviously, the disappointment is twofold because you played in the Commonwealth Games in 2006 when you lost that match to the New Zealand team. Yeah,
absolutely. And that's the hardest thing, I think, is that you've been on such a massive journey with all the girls for the past 8 years that I've been in the team. So when we got silver, we were disappointed, and we'll set our goal for 4 years' time in India to win that gold medal. And, I'm shattered I won't be a part of it, but I'm the type of person that always has to be positive, and I'm not going to let it get me down, and I'm not going to let it stop me from playing anymore. I just want to keep going and see what else I can achieve now in this sport.
Is one of the difficult things being a defender in a team that didn't particularly go that well this year?
Yeah, in hindsight, I think that had a lot to do with it. Vixens, we didn't perform very well, and Julie Coletto was out with injury as my main goal defence, who I have a great partnership with. So I was playing with a lot of young girls, and I'm just, I guess, such a team-orientated player, so I'm always the one wanting to help them out, and perhaps in hindsight I should have been a little bit more selfish during the year and focused on my performance. But you know what, being captain of a team, it is all about the team.
Yeah, that's right, of course. Now, what about the Commonwealth Games coming up? How do you see the build-up for the Australian team then? Will they take care of Jamaica, obviously, in the 3-test series?
Yeah, they will take care of them, definitely. Then they've got 3 test matches against New Zealand, and that's very important, especially for a lot of the young Australian players who haven't had much exposure against playing against the Silver Ferns. And then they don't come up against England, but they will be a main threat, I think, at the Commonwealth Games as well. So it'll be exciting. I think this is the first time where you couldn't really pinpoint that Australia and New Zealand will definitely make that final.
Is that because the English players have been exposed to the Trans-Tasman competition?
Absolutely. English and Jamaican girls have been in our competition, and that's just giving them so much more time playing against the Australian style, which has always been what's kept us up there at the top of our game for years. So it'll be exciting to see what's going to happen.
Now, I know you've got a great interest in AFL as well. You work at Essendon Football Club and you follow Collingwood. I wanted to talk to you about zoning and something that the AFL's borrowed from other sports, including netball, I dare say. What do you make of the evolution now of teams starting to really heavily zone, and particularly in football?
Well, look, I don't pretend to know everything about AFL. Like, I enjoy watching the game. But from a defensive point of view, we use a zone defence and a one-on-one style defence in netball, and they're definitely bringing that more into AFL. The game on the weekend, the Collingwood-Carlton game... Collingwood-Geelong game, you could see that the Collingwood boys, when they were bringing on that zone, you know, in defence, you can't do it on your own. You need other players around you, and they were supporting each other, and every time they tackled someone, there was more than 2 people around that ball, and that helped them get it out so easily.
Have you seen other teams experimenting with this type of stuff and not get it right in the last couple of years? Collingwood seems to have a good balance of attack and zoning and man-on-man. Yeah,
look, I think they do. I think it takes a lot of trial and error to get it right, and you need the right players on the field at the time. You need to make, you know, if you've got some injuries and some key players out, then it's never going to work. It'll be broken down. So I think it's important to have the key personnel on the field and the ones that really understand it, because it is probably more of a mental thing than it is a physical thing to do.
Yeah, OK. And so just briefly to finish up, what do you think of the Collingwood chances now of winning the flag?
Well, I'm very excited as a Collingwood supporter, because I think that they've got, you know, they can do it. It's up to them now. Yeah. No one can stop them. So it's all probably a mental game for them to try and win that premiership.
Yeah, they'll have to get past the Cats again, maybe the Saints and Bulldogs as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for your time.
No problems at all. Thank you.
We'll watch with netball with interest and maybe talk again.
Yep, sure. Thanks, Paul.
Let's talk Wallabies now, and the Bledisloe is gone for another year, but some pride was recovered in Christchurch. For more, Rebel hooker Adam Fryer joins us from Sydney. And Adam, were you at least heartened by the performance of the Wallabies on the weekend?
Yeah, sort of mixed emotions, Paul. I really thought we could have won the game. There was an opportunity there in the A-zone where they seemed to just chip away at the All Blacks and got no result. So a lot of people are saying, oh, gee, we're not too bad, are we? So, and I'm sort of thinking, yeah, I knew that, but we could have won that game. And as you said, the Bledisloe gone another year, it definitely hurts.
What do you think was the major difference between the Wallabies a week ago in Melbourne and then in Christchurch? Was it their level of commitment or organisation?
Look, I think it was a combination of all things. I don't think they were too poor in Melbourne. I also think that Kurtley Beale, as you see him here now, he had an outstanding game and just provided X factor. Anthony Fainga, who probably didn't have his best defensive game, also I thought was very good in attack. We need players that have that X factor, the people that you don't know how to prepare for, and that's when